Ladies and gents, welcome back. Nobody was surprised to hear that the Trudeaus were splitting up, but a lot of people are asking, well, what is the timing in this situation? And it looks like this may be a ploy to get away with yet another ethics violation. Now, here is an image here of Trudeau and his wife, Sophie Grégoire. Not really getting along, and this is for years people have been seeing this situation. Justin and Sophie announced their separation. This was them, not surprising, and of course that is the case. Now, a lot of news agencies saying, hey, you know, lamenting this whole thing and acting like it's some sort of surprise. This is really sad, says the Toronto Star. Justin Trudeau and Sophie Grégoire Trudeau draw attention and sympathy as they announced their separation. Now, not a lot of sympathy going around Canada, really. A lot of dry eyes, to be honest, about this whole thing. But a lot of people asking, why? What is this? What is with the timing in this situation? Well, it didn't take long for people to get kind of to the bottom of this whole thing. Here's an article from the Toronto Sun talking about this specifically. PM's estranged wife exempt from conflict of interest disclosures. A report from Blacklock's reporter brought this story out and into the open. Sophie Grégoire Trudeau and the PM announced their separation on Wednesday. The soon-to-be ex-Miss Justin Trudeau is exempt from Conflict of Interest Act disclosures under her separation agreement with the Prime Minister, according to Blacklock's reporter. And this is why Blacklock's reporter, another, again, great organization bringing out true independent journalism and bringing stories to light here. Sophie Grégoire Trudeau, who announced her separation from Trudeau on Wednesday, registered a new federal corporation to sell communication services in 2022. Sophie and the Prime Minister have signed a legal separation agreement with the Prime Minister's office, said Wednesday. The Prime Minister's office said Wednesday in a statement, they have worked to ensure all legal and ethical steps with regards to their decisions to separate have been taken. Yeah, the ethical steps here are making sure that they are not liable or they're not going to be seen as unethical. And we're going to get into how that works. Under the Act, disclosure is mandatory for a person who is cohabitating with the public office holder in a conjunctual relationship. Hey, however, no disclosure is required for a person from whom a public office holder is separated if all support obligations and family property have been dealt with by a separation agreement or a divorce decree. However, separation agreement or a court order is required, said Melanie Rushworth, a spokesperson from the Office of the Ethics Commissioner. According to the corporate records, Grégoire Trudeau is the sole director of Under Your Light Communications, Inc., which provides communications services. She only got this last year. And this is a really interesting situation, an interesting development in this case. Now, down in the comments of this article, I'll leave a link in the description. You can go check out all the comments and the article itself. But this was an interesting one. Sherry Bannon saying, can we expect her first job as totally independent special rapporteur looking into election interference? Probably. I mean, with the record going of who gets picked for these jobs, I wouldn't be surprised who would be. Jason James on Twitter saying, what impeccable timing. I wonder how many tax dollars will be funneled through this communications business now that Sophie isn't subject to disclosures as required by the Conflict of Interest Act. Of course, the Ethics Commissioner has brought Trudeau before him or her so many times in his 8 years as Prime Minister, and being seen as in violation twice of the Ethics Act in Canada. Sophie Trudeau evaded Conflict of Interest Act disclosures, says this article from Western Standard. Another one going into this due to separation agreement with Prime Minister Trudeau. Sophie Grégoire Trudeau is exempt from Conflict of Interest Act disclosures. How so very, very convenient. Now, before We Charity received a federal grant, and this is where it all gets into that We Charity thing that I was talking about, $43.5 million in 2020. According to records, it was discovered that We Charity provided Sophie with talent fees, gifts, and expense-paid trips in London and New York, amounting to $25,000, $25,681 to be exact. The grant was withdrawn after it was discovered that We Charity paid $471,751 in fees and gifts to the Trudeau family, which included the Prime Minister's mother and brother. And well, you know, the ethics commissioner was not too pleased by this, nor was, the bulk of Canadian citizens that pay taxes in this country. Now, Blacklock's reporter putting out tweets talking about exactly this. Why is this even of interest? I'll tell you why. We Charity, in quotes here. And this is from a podcast, definition of Trudeau's legal separation agreement under the Conflict of Interest Act. Now, this podcast, I'll give you a little excerpt. This is the director from Blacklock's reporter talking about why this is relevant.
You know, and I know some people are Canadians about this subject. Why are you going through the wife's tax return? Let me tell you something. The record is very instructive. You know, we were discussing We Charity. What did the MPs discover in the case of We Charity? The families are points of contact. So this is not just, you know, picking through the sock drawer or looking for fault or, you know, prurient interest. Bill Morneau, he's not in cabinet anymore. He resigned because of some of the disclosures. What did MPs discover? Bill Morneau's adult daughter was hired out of college by We Charity, a federal contractor at the time. Bill Morneau's wife had donated $100,000 to We Charity, a federal contractor at the time. Morneau himself failed to disclose he accepted an expense-paid trip at the charge of a federal contractor at the time. You can't do that. But that's why they have disclosure requirements of the families. Now, you're right. If you say, well, we have a legal separation agreement, there's no divorce decree, but I don't have to report my income now, who knows who is paying me for my communications advice? Could it be federal contractors, and how? But presumably, Parliament decided when it wrote this bill, they said, well, we have to draw the line somewhere, right? Disclosure can't be a death pact that forever and all time you must disclose your tax returns to the Commons Ethics Committee. But your point's taken, Richard.
Yeah, I think the timing of this announcement is somewhat suspicious, but maybe that's just me.
It's not just you. It isn't just you, that's for sure. Leon Advocacy on Twitter saying, why did the PM formalize his separation now if everyone suspected this occurred a while ago? Everybody knows that they weren't a couple, essentially, for the longest time. They're just holding it together. But why the separation now? Blacklock's report provides a clever, elegant answer. Sophie is no longer a spouse in the eyes of the law. The family can now accumulate more wealth undetected without conflict. And this is where things are, the contentious things come into play here. But that's where we're at with that. Now, even comedian Ben Bankus is saying out there, since Sophie is moving out, will Trudeau house migrants now? Well, that is yet to be seen. I doubt we'll ever see something like that, but that is definitely great for pointing that out as we run into this migrant crisis, especially in Toronto. Ben Bankus, of course, a comedian from Toronto, talking about this. But this is the situation now where Justin Trudeau and Sophie Grégoire Trudeau have separated. And the timing was very suspicious to a lot of people. A lot of people asking why exactly now? What is the deal? Of course, sympathy going out there, not very much. Some from, supporters of Justin Trudeau in the case of this. I did put that out there at one point that this isn't something that we should be relishing in, the separation of a family. We're all people that love the institutions of marriage and family, and these are things that we should uphold. However, this is just another point in Trudeau's, well, another feather in Trudeau's cap of why he doesn't follow anything through, and it's just a testament to what kind of man he is. Now, again, the timing is more suspect than anything else, and well, it looks like we might be getting to the bottom of it. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and of course, we will see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.